Hey guys, what's up? This is going to be the first review video for your test next Thursday. Remember to turn this one in along with the one I'm going to post tomorrow. This one will be over adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing positive and negative integers. Okay, no fractions, but just integers. What I'm going to do is actually just go through your quizzes that you took on these things and then work some of the problems, and hopefully that'll help you out. Okay. So let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, this first one, number 1 here. It says the difference between two numbers is -3. Which of the expressions could represent the subtraction problem? Okay? So, you have to choose all that apply in this one. You pretty much have to work them all out and see which ones make sense for this. So it's saying the difference in two numbers. So you could have a number here minus another number, because difference means subtraction, remember. And a number minus another number is going to get you -3 in this case. Alright, we want to see which ones that'll work for. So -4 minus 1. Well, right here you're starting at -4 and you're going one more in the negative direction, which would get you to -5. So that would not be right. Okay? 8 minus 11. Well, from 8 to get back to 0, you would take 8 minus 8. But you're taking 3 more away from it than that, so you'll be past 0 to -3. So that one checks out. Okay? 2 minus -1. Two negatives in a row, remember, make a positive, a plus a positive. Subtracting a negative is the same as adding a positive. So this would actually get you 3, which would not be -3. Okay? The next one, -1 minus 2. Alright, so you're starting at -1 here. You're going 2 more in the negative direction. That will get you to -3. So that would be 1. And the last one, -5 minus -2. Okay, remember, two negatives in a row make a positive. It's like adding a positive. So here you've got -5 and +2. Well, now you weigh, what do you have more of? You have more of the negatives or the positives? You have more of the negatives. How many more? You've got 3 more negatives. So that would work out. Okay, so it would be B, D, and E in that case. Okay? Clear that there. We'll go to the next one here. In golf, scores that are under the expected score are represented by negative numbers. Calvin played 3 games of golf during a tournament. His scores are shown. So those are all 3 of his games. You want to find out what his total game is. Or in this case, actually, you have to read these statements and see which ones are true. Again, it says choose all that apply. Okay? Actually, no, it doesn't in this one. It says which statement. Just one statement. So you know you're only going to have one answer. Okay? So which statement is true? That helps you out, knowing that you're only going to have one. Okay, so his score changed from game 1 to game 2 by -2. Okay, from game 1 that he scored a 1, and then he got to -3. Okay, well, from 1, if it changed -2 from 1, it'd be 1, and then if it changed -1, you'd be at 0. If it changed -2, you'd now be, gosh dang it, you'd be at -1. Okay? So it does not change by -2. Sorry, that should be a -1 there. Alright? So from 1 to -1 is a -2 jump. Okay? So A is not correct. Calvin's score changed from game 1 to game 3 by -1. Game 1, he had 1. How do you get from 1 to -2? Okay, because -2 is his game 3 score. So this is game 1, this is game 3 score. Okay, did it change by -1 here? Well, from 1 to 0 is -1, so that means that that's not true. Okay, because he got to -2. He didn't get to 0, he got to -2. Okay, next one. Calvin's score changed from game 2 to game 3 by -1. Okay, so you go from -3 on game 2 to game 3 going to -2. From -3 to -2, that's actually, you went +1, right? That's actually the opposite of -1, so that one is also incorrect. And if you cancel all those out, you're left with D. Well, let's just test if D is correct, okay? Calvin's score changed from game 1 to game 3 by -3. All right, so from 1, that'd be game 1 score, to -2, that'd be game 3 score. From game 1 to game 3, did it change by -3? Well, to get from 1 to -2, how much did you have to go back? You had to go down -3, so that would actually be the right answer there, letter D. Okay, what was his total score for the 3 games would be part B's question. Okay, so you would just add up all his scores and see what his total score would be. So you got 1 plus -3 plus -2, all right? Well, you can go ahead and add up the negatives. What's -3 plus -2? So you get 1 plus a total of -5. Now you can weigh, what do you have more of, positives or negatives? Well, you have more negatives here. So his total score would be -4, okay? And I know I'm going through these quick. I expect you guys to pause it and go back if there's something you don't catch on to, okay? I'm going to go through number 3 and number 5, okay? And then I'll move on to the other quizzes, okay? So, number 3, let A represent a positive number, B represent a negative number. So I'll just write at the top, A's positive, B's negative. Tell whether each statement is true or false. The difference A minus B could be negative, okay? So A minus, and it says B is a negative number, so we'll put a negative out in front of B at all times. So that would actually be A minus negative B, which would mean A plus B, because 2 negatives in a row, you're actually adding a positive, so A plus B. Can that ever be negative? That is always going to be positive, right? A positive plus a positive is always going to be positive, so letter A there is false, okay? The next one. The difference B minus A cannot be positive. Well, remember, B is a negative number, so we'll put negative B, minus A, which is always a positive number, so it'll just stay minus A. Well, a negative minus a positive is always going to be a bigger negative, right? Your answer will always be negative there. If you want to plug in numbers, you could say something like -3 minus 1. That's going to get you -4. -1 minus 1, that's going to get you -2, okay? You're always going to have a negative answer there, okay? So, it cannot be positive would be true there. So right now we've got false, true, okay? Next one, the sum A plus B could be positive. A plus some negative B, right? Remember, I'm changing this B to negative because we know that it's always a negative number. It told us in the beginning. Can you ever have a positive number in this situation? Well, yeah, you can. If this A is bigger than B, then it can be positive. It's not going to necessarily be positive. You could have 5 plus -4. That gets you +1. But you could also have 5 plus -6 and get -1. Okay? But it could be positive. It doesn't say it's going to have to be. It could be positive. So that would be true. Okay? Letter D, the sum B plus A must be negative, okay? All right, so we would have a negative B plus A, and it must be negative? Well, we just used an example that makes that not true, okay? So if you had -4 plus 5, that would be +1. You got more positives than negatives. So that'd actually be false there. It doesn't have to be negative, okay? All right, let's look at number 5. So they wrote this expression shown. She wants to rewrite it as addition, okay? So write each number in a blank to show an equivalent addition expression. So the first one's not going to change. We're going to have -1, or -8 there, sorry. Okay? Subtracting a negative is the same as adding +4. Okay? So this is what we've got so far. We got -8 in the first blank. We've got 4 in the next blank. Okay? Subtracting a positive is the same as adding a -9. So the third blank would be -9. Okay? That's the same as saying just -9. Plus -9 is the same as saying just -9. Okay? And what is the value of our expression? Well, we've got a total of 17 negatives, and we've got that 4 positive, right? Negative 8 and negative 9 makes 17 negatives plus the 4 positives, and we get a total of negative 13. Okay? Alright, that's it for adding and subtracting. Now we're going to go to multiplying and dividing, okay? Which would be this one here. Okay, so we'll go through a couple of these too. Alright, determine if each quotient is correct in this first one. Okay, so we got negative 4 divided by 1. Well, anything divided by 1 is itself, right? If it's a positive one. So we still get negative 4. That'd be true. Next one. Negative 6 divided by 2. Or negative 2, sorry. Equals negative 3. Well, a negative divided by a negative is supposed to get you a positive, so that'd be false. First one's right, second one's false. Okay? Letter C, negative 7 divided by negative 7. Anything divided by itself gets you 1. Okay? A negative divided by a negative gets you a positive. So this either way would be positive 1. That's true. Okay? And last one, 10 divided by negative 5. Okay? A positive divided by a negative should get you negative 2. They say it gives you positive 2, so that would be wrong. Alright. Let's go down to number 3. A lot of you missed this because of a little bitty detail, okay? So her car insurance payment decreases by $20 each year. Which expressions represent the total change in payment after 5 years? Okay? We could say 5 years times negative 20 each year and get a total of negative 100. Okay? So this 5 times 20 works. Okay? That would be letter C here. Negative 100 also works. That would be letter E. Okay, so those two are correct. A negative 20 times a negative 5, that gets you a positive 100, which is not what we want. Same with B. We don't want positive 100. Now, a lot of you put A as an answer, but I'm going to show you why that's actually wrong. Okay? If you look at the very, very initial 20, she never gained $20 for her payment. This first 20 is positive here. It's got to have a negative out in front of it too to get to negative $100. Okay? It should say negative 20 plus negative 20 or minus 20. Okay? Negative 20 minus 20 minus 20 minus 20 minus 20. Okay? There should be 5 of those. But this first one's got to be a negative as well. Okay? If it's not, then these first 2 would cancel and you'd only have negative 60, which is not what we want there. Okay? That's not what we want. Alright, next one, number 4 here. Write the letter for each expression in category and that correctly describes the expression. Okay, so again, a negative times a negative gets you a positive. A negative divided by a positive gets you a negative. Positive divided by a negative gets you a negative. Positive divided or times a negative gets you a negative. Negative times a negative gets you a positive. Negative divided by a positive gets you a negative. Okay? So remember, these are the rules we came up with for multiplication and division. A positive times a positive gives you a positive. Same with a negative times a negative gives you a positive. Okay, if you have alternating signs, it's always going to give you a negative answer. And it's the same with division, remember. Same rules apply for division, okay? Alright. I'm also going to throw in one prime factorization example if I can fit it in this last minute real quick. So prime factorization of 76, okay? We know it's even, so you can break it down into 2 and something. Well, what is that other number? Okay, that would be, what? 38. Alright, 38 and 2. Okay, you can also break 38 down into 2 and something because it's, again, it's an even number, okay? So we would have 2 and 19. So you circle your dead ends, remember, okay? And in this case, you got 19 times 2 times 2. Since you have 2 normal multiples of 2, okay, you can take 19 times 2 to what power? It'd be the second power, okay? Because exponents are repeated multiplication. Okay, again, I know I went through all that really fast. You can pause it, rewind if you want in any situation. Make sure you turn this one in, and then I'm going to have another one follow up tomorrow. Okay? Have a good night. Thanks. Bye.